Listen to me. Some of you have been sitting on dreams for too long. You've been talking about it, writing it down, vision boarding it, but you haven't moved. You haven't acted. You don't need more time. You need more discipline. You don't need more motivation. You need more movement. Take action. Now, there's somebody out there less talented than you, less gifted, less experienced, but they're winning. You know why? Because they moved. They took a step. You're still waiting on the perfect time. Newsflash, it don't exist. The perfect time is the time you decide to stop making excuses and start making progress. Some of you want success, but you ain't willing to sacrifice. You want growth, but you ain't ready to be uncomfortable. You want to shine, but you won't grind. Success is not about what you know, it's about what you do with what you know. You got to move from wishing to working, from dreaming to doing. So today, not tomorrow, today, make a decision. Burn the excuses, cut the distractions, and go all in. Every step counts. Every rep matters. Every second is a gift. You owe it to yourself. You owe it to your family. You owe it to your purpose. Take action now, not later, not next week. Now, the idea of waiting for the perfect time is one of the most deceptive and paralyzing traps we fall into as human beings. It feels safe. It feels responsible. It even feels smart. We convince ourselves that we're being strategic, that we're just planning, that we'll take the leap when we've learned just a little bit more, saved a little bit more, healed a little bit more, healed a little bit more, or when the circumstances are just right. But the truth is, there's no such thing as the perfect time. Life doesn't slow down. It doesn't line itself up neatly in your favor. And the universe doesn't pause to give you the ideal moment to chase your goals. The perfect time is a myth we use to justify our fear. Every second you spend waiting is a second you're giving away to doubt, to fear, to procrastination. You might not call it fear. You might say you're just being cautious. You might say you're waiting to be sure. But deep down, it's hesitation rooted in fear of failure, fear of imperfection, fear of rejection. And if you keep feeding that fear by postponing action, it grows stronger. It becomes your default response to every opportunity. You start seeing risks instead of rewards, obstacles instead of openings, and before you know it, months turn into years, and you're still in the same place, talking about what you're going to do rather than what you've done. What we need to understand, deeply, urgently, and with absolute clarity, is that action is the only thing that creates momentum, not ideas, not inspiration, not waiting for everything to feel easy. Action, forward movement, decision, steps that don't need to be perfect. They don't need to be flashy. They just need to be real. Because every time you take a step, no matter how small, you're breaking the cycle of hesitation. You're telling your fear it doesn't control you. You're building courage, not by thinking about it, but by doing it. If you look at any successful person in business, in sports, in art, in life, what you'll find isn't someone who waited for the stars to align. What you'll find is someone who moved when it was inconvenient, who acted when it was uncomfortable, who jumped in before they had all the answers. They started messy. They started scared, but they started. And that's what made all the difference. Starting doesn't require confidence. Confidence comes after you start. You earn it through repetition, through experience, through failure, and adaptation. But you don't get there if you don't begin. There's this lie. We tell ourselves that waiting is productive, that we're preparing or getting ready. And yes, preparation matters. But there's a fine line between preparation and procrastination dressed up in productivity. You don't need 3 more certifications to start the business. You don't need to read 10 more books to get in shape. You don't need the perfect gear or the ideal conditions to chase your dream. You need to move. You need to act with what you have, because what you have is enough to start. And once you start, what you need will reveal itself along the way. Too many people die with their potential still inside them, buried beneath excuses and delays. They talk about what they could have done, what they should have done, but they never acted. Don't be one of those people. Don't look back 10 years from now and realize you let fear dress up as a timing and steal your shot. Life isn't waiting for you. The world doesn't pause. Time keeps moving. And the longer you delay, the harder it becomes to convince yourself to finally begin. You don't need perfect timing. You need a decision. You need to stop overthinking and start doing. Do it imperfectly. Do it nervously. Do it with a lump in your throat and your hands shaking, but do it. Because the truth is, once you begin, you'll realize it wasn't as scary as you thought. You'll discover strength you didn't know you had. You'll develop resilience through experience, not contemplation. Every challenge you face will make you sharper. Every misstep will make you wiser. But none of that happens if you keep waiting. And let's be real. The perfect top is often just an illusion we chase because we're afraid to be judged. We don't want to fail publicly. We don't want people to see us struggle. But understand this, the people who are truly great at something, they got great because they were once bad at it. They didn't skip the messy beginning. They lived through it. They embraced it. They learned in real time. And that's how mastery is built. Through messy starts, through awkward trial, through the grit of taking action. There will always be something missing. Always something you don't know yet. Always something you haven't figured out. But if you keep letting that stop you, you'll never grow. Growth demands risk. Progress demands movement. And movement means starting before you're ready. Not recklessly, but with faith, with courage, with a willingness to fall forward. You might fall. You might fail. But you'll be in the game. You'll be learning, adjusting, evolving. You'll be making progress, even if it's slow. And that's infinitely better than being stuck in the same place, paralyzed by the idea of perfection. Because perfection isn't real, but progress is. Progress is earned through action. So whatever you're holding back on, whatever you keep pushing to next week, or next month, or next month, or next year, I challenge you to start today. Not when it's convenient, not when it's comfortable, not when you feel ready. Because ready isn't a feeling, it's a choice. A choice to bet on yourself, a choice to step into your purpose, a choice to show up not just when it's easy, but especially when it's not. Take a step, write the first sentence, make the first call, post the first video, build the first product. Say yes to the opportunity, say no to the delay. Just start, right now, because action is the only antidote to fear. Action is the only cure for stagnation. And action is the only thing that transforms dreams into reality. So don't wait for the perfect time. There's no such thing. The perfect time is when you decide to begin, and that time is now. There's a harsh truth that many people don't want to face, but it's one you need to understand if you're going to level up in life. Talent alone is not enough. Being talented does not guarantee success. Being smart, gifted, or naturally skilled at something does not mean you will automatically rise to the top. Every single day, people with less talent than you are winning. They are building businesses, getting promotions, making moves, achieving their goals, not because they're more qualified or more capable, but because they're willing to take action. They're willing to show up, take risks, fail forward, and do the work. They're doing the things that most people won't, and that's the difference. You've been told all your life that talent is what separates people, that the best singer gets the record deal, that the smartest student gets the scholarship, that the most creative person becomes the most successful. But that's not the full picture. Talent might open a door, but it's action that walks you through it. It's consistency, discipline, and work ethic that keep you in the room. There are thousands of talented people who never make it, who never fulfill their potential, simply because they never do the work. They sit on their gifts. They wait. They assume that talent is enough. Meanwhile, the person with half the skill but double the drive is out there grinding, pushing, moving forward, and making things happen. This is where it gets real. Talent can make you think you're special. It can lull you into complacency. You might feel like you're better than the people around you because things come easily. Maybe you've always been praised for your ability. Maybe people have always told you how bright or gifted you are. But the truth is, the world does not reward potential. The world rewards execution. The world rewards results, and results come from doing, not just from knowing. You could be the most talented person in your city, but if you don't act, if you don't hustle, if you don't show up every single day with fire and focus, then someone with less ability is going to pass you by. Not because they're better than you, but because they refuse to be outworked. They understand that success is earned in the grind. They know that showing up matters more than showing off. It's easy to watch people winning and assume they had some advantage. It's easy to tell yourself they were lucky or had better connections or better timing, but most of the time the truth is much simpler. They acted, they started, they failed, they learned, they tried again. While you were thinking about it, they were doing it. While you were hesitating, they were committing. While you were waiting for the right moment, they were using what they had to build something real. Let's say you got a dream. You want to start a business, become a speaker, write a book, build a brand. You got the talent. People have told you you're good. You believe you have something special. And maybe you do. But talent locked in your mind or sitting on your hard drive doesn't serve anyone. Your dream won't happen just because you believe in it. It happens when you get up and build it day after day, hour after hour. You might be the best in the world, but if nobody knows it because you haven't taken action, you're invisible. Meanwhile, someone else with less talent is out there showing up every day. They're not as skilled, not as smooth, not as polished, but they're real. They're consistent. They're getting better every day because they're in the game. And because they keep taking action, people are starting to notice. They're gaining experience. They're building confidence. They're growing their audience. Eventually, they become the go-to person in that space. Not because they started with more, but because they refuse to stop. It's not the best who win. It's the bold, it's the relentless, it's the ones who don't make excuses. The ones who don't let fear or perfectionism keep them from starting. The ones who understand that progress is more powerful than potential. That movement beats measurement. That putting in the reps, day after day, is the only path to mastery. Talent might get you applause, but action builds legacy. There's someone out there who didn't grow up with the resources you had, who didn't get the opportunities you got, who wasn't handed anything, but they're hungry. They've got that fire in their eyes. They're willing to learn, to adapt, to fail, and keep going. They're not waiting for permission. They're not checking to see who approves. They're not comparing themselves to everyone else. They're focused on one thing, getting better through action. That hunger, that mindset, that drive, it will beat raw talent every time if the talent stays passive. You can't be mad at someone for winning about what you weren't willing to do. You can't complain about being overlooked if you haven't put in the consistent effort to be seen. The truth is, the work is the great equalizer. It doesn't care how gifted you are. It doesn't care about your background. It only responds to persistence. If you do the work, you will grow. If you keep moving, you will progress. And if you stay in the game long enough, eventually your actions will speak louder than anyone else's opinions or even your own doubts. If you're sitting on a gift right now, if there's something you know you're good at, but you haven't acted on it, you're not just wasting time, you're wasting impact. There are people waiting for what you bring to the table. There are problems only you can solve. There are lives you can change, but only if you take the first step. The world doesn't need more gifted people waiting for the perfect time. It needs more people willing to move, to try, to fail, and to rise again. This is not about being the most talented. This is about being the most consistent, the most determined, the most committed to growth. You might not be the best right now. That's okay. What matters is that you're better than you were yesterday, and you're committed to being better tomorrow. That's how you win. That's how you rise. You don't need to be born with it. You just need to want it bad enough to work for it. So stop watching other people live your dream. Stop waiting for your moment and start creating your moment. Do something today, not tomorrow. That gets you closer to your goal. Take the step. Make the move. Don't just think about your gift. Use it, develop it, sharpen it, and share it. Because talent sitting still will never beat action on the move. You have what it takes. Now prove it, not by talking about it, but by doing something with it every single day. Discipline is the bridge between goals and achievement. It is the daily commitment to act, even when emotions, motivation, or circumstances try to convince you otherwise. Many people dream, wish, and talk about success, but few are willing to discipline themselves to work relentlessly for it. Talent can get you noticed, but only discipline can keep you consistent. Discipline isn't glamorous. It's not exciting. It's not always fun, but it's what separates the good from the great, the starter from the finisher, and the dreamer from the doer. Without discipline, all you have is potential. And potential without discipline is wasted. Discipline means doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. It's waking up early when your bed is calling you to stay. It's working out when your body says rest. It's studying when your mind wants entertainment. It's staying focused when distractions are everywhere. Discipline is your inner coach, the part of you that said, keep going, when everything else screams, stop. It doesn't wait for motivation. It creates results regardless of emotion. Motivation might get you started, but discipline is what keeps you going when the novelty wears off. Too often, people chase the feeling of being inspired, waiting for the perfect time or the right move. But inspiration is unreliable. Discipline is dependable. You don't build a legacy on moments of excitement. You build it on habits, routines, and repeated effort. You can't afford to be controlled by your emotions if you want to achieve greatness. Emotions fluctuate, but discipline remains steady. It shows up when it's raining, when you're tired, when you're afraid, when the results are slow. It's your anchor, your engine, your foundation. Real discipline is not about punishment. It's about alignment. It's aligning your actions with your highest goals and values, even when it's uncomfortable. It's choosing long-term gain over short-term pleasure. It's understanding that greatness is not born from ease, it's forged in consistency. It's not about being perfect, it's about being persistent. You don't have to win every day, but you have to show up every day. Discipline is about showing up even when it's hard, even when you're not seeing progress, even when no one's watching. Discipline also builds confidence. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you strengthen your trust in yourself. When you say you'll do something and you follow through, you prove to yourself that you're reliable. That internal trust becomes self-respect, and self-respect becomes fuel. When you live with discipline, you walk with a different energy. You carry yourself with the pride of knowing that you're doing what most people aren't willing to do. And that quiet confidence becomes a weapon because you know you've earned every inch of your progress. Most people underestimate how powerful, simple, disciplined actions can be when compounded over time. Reading 10 pages a day, eating clean consistently, saving a portion of your income, practicing a skill daily. These don't seem revolutionary in the moment, but over months and years, they create transformation. That's the secret. Discipline isn't about huge, dramatic changes. It's about small, intentional decisions repeated again and again. The people who master discipline don't necessarily work harder than everyone else. They just work consistently. Discipline is a daily choice. It doesn't happen once. It happens every day in every decision. And the more you choose it, the stronger it becomes. Like a muscle, it grows with use. The first day is hard. The first week is tough. But if you stick with it, something shifts. What once felt like a struggle becomes part of who you are. And that's when discipline turns into lifestyle. It's no longer a battle. It's your default. People often ask how to stay disciplined when things get difficult. The answer lies in clarity. You need to know why you're doing what you're doing. Your why fuels your discipline. When your reason is powerful enough, it will carry you through the resistance. Whether it's your family, your future, your purpose, or your desire to break a generational curse, let your why be bigger than your weakness. Write it down. Speak it aloud. Remind yourself daily. Because when you know your why, the how becomes easier to face. But even with a strong why, discipline requires systems. You can't rely on willpower alone. It fades. You need structure. You need plans. You need accountability. You need habits that automate success. Set your environment up for discipline. Eliminate temptation. Create routines that support your goals. Track your progress. Surround yourself with people who challenge you to stay on course. Discipline thrives in intentional environments. You also have to accept that discipline sometimes means sacrifice. There will be times when you say no to things others say yes to. You'll miss out on comfort, ease, maybe even some social moments. But the temporary sacrifice is nothing compared to the permanent satisfaction. Success has a price, and discipline is the currency. Every day you choose discipline, you're making a down payment on your future. Don't wait for someone to push you. Don't wait for a crisis to wake you up. Be your own motivator. Hold yourself to a higher standard. Be the kind of person who doesn't need to be watched to give their best. Be the one who does the work in silence and lets the results make the noise. When you live with discipline, you don't have to chase opportunity. Opportunities start chasing you because excellence is magnetic and discipline is the root of excellence. You will be tested. There will be days when you want to quit, when progress feels invisible, when your mind plays tricks on you. In those moments, discipline is your armor. It protects your vision from your doubts. It shields your goals from your emotions. It keeps you grounded when the wind of adversity tries to blow you off course. Don't break. Don't fold. Don't let temporary feelings destroy permanent progress. Keep showing up. Keep moving forward, one step at a time. And here's the truth. Discipline is hard, yes, but so is regret. So is living below your potential. So is watching someone else live the life you could have had. So is waking up every day knowing you're capable of more, but didn't act on it. So choose your heart wisely. One leads to growth. The other leads to frustration. Choose the pain of discipline over the pain of disappointment. You don't need to have it all figured out to start being disciplined. You just need to start. Start small. Build momentum. Prove to yourself that you can follow through. And over time, your mindset will shift. You'll go from dreading discipline to craving it. You'll realize that discipline isn't a burden. It's a blessing. It's the key that unlocks doors others can't open. It's the foundation that supports dreams others can't reach. So make the commitment. Not for a day, not for a week, but for life. Let discipline be your lifestyle, your standard, your signature. Let it define the way you train, work, eat, rest, think, and speak. Let it shape your character and your future. Because the truth is, if you master discipline, you can master anything. Discipline is the gateway to transformation. And transformation is how you rise above average and step into greatness. Most people wait. They wait for the perfect moment, the ideal situation, the sign from the universe that says now is the time. But what they don't understand is that waiting is a trap. It's a lie that comfort feeds you, so you don't have to face discomfort. It's a story fear tells you to keep you from becoming who you were meant to be. The perfect moment doesn't exist. It never had, and it never will. There will always be a reason not to act. There will always be obstacles, uncertainties, and challenges. But the people who win in life are the ones who move anyway. They move through the chaos, through the uncertainty, through the noise, because they understand one powerful truth. If you don't start now, you may never start at all. You can have all the knowledge in the world, all the talent, all the strategy, but if you keep telling yourself, I'll do it when things calm down, you're building a habit of delay. And delay is deadly to your dreams. Every time you postpone action, every time you justify waiting, you make it harder to begin. Your mind gets used to the pause. It begins to associate action with anxiety and comfort with procrastination. The longer you wait, the heavier the weight becomes. What started as a simple task turns into an intimidating mountain, not because it grew, but because you shrank in the process. The key to momentum is movement. And movement doesn't require ideal conditions. It just requires commitment. You don't need all the answers before you begin. You just need to take one step, then another, and another. Success is not about massive leaps. It's about small, consistent actions, but those actions must begin now, not tomorrow, not next week, not when things are settled, because life rarely settles. There's always something, always a bill, a problem, a distraction, a new excuse. And if you don't learn to act in the middle of the mess, you'll never act at all. Think about how many people you know who talk about their plans, their goals, their dreams. They say, one day I'm going to start that business. One day I'm going to write that book. One day I'll get serious about my health, my relationships, my purpose. But that one day never comes because they're not really waiting on the right time. They're waiting for fear to go away. And fear never leaves on its own. It only shrinks when you move toward it. When you do the things scared, when you stop listening to your doubts and start following your discipline, when you realize that the only way to grow is to go. Most people think courage means no fear. That's false. Courage means feeling the fear and acting anyway. It means taking the first step, not because everything is clear, but because you're tired of being stuck. It's about deciding that your future is more important than your comfort zone, that your purpose is bigger than your excuses. That your time is too valuable to waste on maybe later. You have to train yourself to act fast, not recklessly, but intentionally. The faster you move on an idea, the less chance fear has to stop you. The more you delay, the more your mind begins to attack the idea with what ifs and worst case scenarios. But when you move quickly, you shift from thinking to doing, from doubting to building. And in that movement, you find clarity. You discover strength you didn't know you had. You build confidence not by reading or watching others, but by doing it yourself. Messy, imperfect, but real. There's a momentum that comes from action. Even small wins create energy. One workout turns into a healthier week. One video becomes a channel. One email launches a business. But you have to start. You have to interrupt the pattern of almost and a not yet and say, a day is the day. No more preparation without progress. No more study without execution. No more planning without pursuit. If you're serious about change, action is the only language that matters. And yes, you're going to make mistakes. Yes, you're going to stumble. You might even fail. But failure from action is always better than regret from inaction. At least when you try, you gain experience, you learn, you grow. But when you don't even start, you stay stuck in your head, creating fake fears and imaginary scenarios that never play out because you never gave yourself a chance. Stop telling yourself you need more time. You had time. What you need now is more urgency. You need to realize that every day you wait, someone else is out there grinding, building, moving. Someone else with fewer resources, fewer advantages, and fewer excuses outworking you simply because they understand the power of now. They're not waiting for everything to be right. They're making things right by doing. And every step they take widens the gap between where you are and where you could have been. You've already spent enough time thinking about it, enough time talking about it, enough time hoping for the right conditions. That window you're waiting for, it doesn't open by itself. You have to push it open. You have to create the space for change by choosing to move forward in spite of the discomfort. You have to get used to taking action without guarantees. That's how greatness is built, not with certainty, but with courage. Ask yourself, what's one thing you've been putting on? What's that project, that dream, that commitment you keep saying you'll get to when things slow down? Now ask yourself, has that moment ever truly come? Or have you just adapted to the habit of postponement? Be honest with yourself. Because until you confront your own patterns, you'll keep repeating them. You'll stay in the loop of delay, wondering why nothing's changing while telling yourself you're just waiting for the right time. Let me be clear. There is no right time. There's just now. This moment, this decision. And every time you choose now, you break the pattern of hesitation. You build the identity of someone who acts, someone who executes, someone who doesn't just dream. They do. You start small, but you don't stay small. Action expands you. It stretches your capacity. It strengthens your will. It develops your skills. But all of that begins with one simple but powerful decision: to stop waiting and start moving. It's okay if you don't have everything figured out. Most people don't. But the ones who succeed are the ones who start anyway, who take one step, then figure out the next, who build momentum through movement, who choose progress over perfection, who understand that you can't steer a parked car. You have to be in motion before you can adjust direction. So move now, before fear talks you out of it, before doubt convinces you to shrink, before the voice in your head tells you you're not ready. Because readiness is built in the doing. Confidence is born in the action, and mastery is created in the momentum. The people who rise are not those who waited, they're those who worked while others wondered, who built while others waited, who moved while others made excuses. This is your time, not because it's perfect, but because it's possible, because it's in front of you, because everything you've been waiting for is on the other side of one decision: to act right here, right now. Don't let another day slip by wishing, wondering, or waiting. Be the one who starts. Be the one who moves. Be the one who says, I'm done waiting. I'm ready to win. Then take that step and never stop walking forward. Discipline is the foundation of every great achievement. It is what separates those who dream from those who do, those who wish from those who win. Talent is great. Passion is powerful. But without discipline, neither will take you far. Discipline is waking up early when you don't feel like it. Discipline is putting in the work even when there's no applause, no recognition, and no instant results. Discipline is showing up every single day, no matter what. It's the grind behind the glory, the sacrifice behind the scenes, the effort that nobody sees but everyone feels when the results finally show up. The truth is, motivation will come and go. You wake up some days feeling like you can conquer the world, and other days not wanting to get out of bed. That's just human nature. But if you rely on motivation, you'll be inconsistent, and inconsistency kills progress. Discipline is what carries you when motivation fades. Discipline is the decision you make every moment to choose long-term success over short-term comfort. It's not sexy. It's not always exciting, but it's essential because you can't reach the next level without a commitment to consistent, focused action. People often say they want success, but their actions don't align with that desire. They say they want to be fit, but they don't train. They say they want financial freedom, but they spend recklessly. They say they want to build something meaningful, but they waste their time on distraction. Discipline is the bridge between goals and results. It's the thing that forces your life into alignment. It tells your emotions you don't get to decide my future. It tells your habits you will serve my purpose. It tells your excuses are not welcome here. And make no mistake, discipline is hard. It's a fight every day against your old self. It's saying no when everything in you wants to say yes to comfort. It's choosing the gym over the couch, the book over the phone, the grind over the distraction. But here's the thing, it gets easier. The more you practice discipline, the stronger it becomes. It's like a muscle. You start small, making your bed, sticking to your word, managing your time, and those small wins stack up. Over time, they create unstoppable momentum, and that momentum turns into identity. You stop saying, I want to be disciplined, and start saying, I'm disciplined. The world doesn't owe you results just because you want them. It rewards consistency. It honors effort. It notices those who refuse to quit. And while others are chasing hacks, shortcuts, and gimmicks, you're building something real. One rep at a time, 1 hour at a time, one disciplined decision at a time. You may not always see the results right away. You may feel like you're spinning your wheels. But if you stay disciplined, the breakthrough will come. And when it does, it will come with power because it was earned. Not given, not looked into, earned. Think about it. Every artist, entrepreneur, or leader you admire got where they are not because of luck, but because of discipline. Behind every success story is a person who kept showing up when it was hard, who kept pushing when it hurt, who chose growth over comfort. There are no overnight successes, just people who were willing to stay the course when everyone else quit. Discipline builds that kind of strength, the kind that lasts, the kind that doesn't crack under pressure, the kind that doesn't bend when life pushes back. You don't need to be the most talented. You don't need to be the smartest. But if you're disciplined, truly disciplined, you become dangerous. Because while others are inconsistent, you're dependable. While others start and stop, you keep moving forward. And that consistency compounds. What feels like small gains today turns into massive transformation over time. Your discipline becomes your superpower. It makes you unshakable, unstoppable. Discipline also teaches you patience. It reminds you that greatness is a process, not a moment. That results come to those who respect the journey. When you're disciplined, you stop chasing quick wins and start building lasting success. You understand that progress isn't always visible, but that doesn't mean it isn't happening. Sometimes the real growth is internal, in your mindset, your resilience, your grit. And those are the qualities that prepare you to handle the success you're working toward. But here's the catch. Nobody's going to do it for you. You can have coaches, mentors, and support systems, but at the end of the day, discipline is personal. It's you versus you. It's your voice in your head telling you to keep going when nobody's watching. It's your ability to delay gratification, to endure discomfort, to pursue what matters instead of what's easy. That's what separates the winners from the watchers, the committed from the curious, the disciplined from the distracted. And let's be real, discipline won't always feel good. You'll want to quit. You'll feel tired, frustrated, defeated. That's normal. That's part of the process. But discipline isn't about feeling good. It's about making the right choice, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. Because that's where character is built. That's where toughness is forged. Not when everything's going right, but when everything is testing you. So ask yourself, what would happen if you committed to discipline for just 1 year? 1 year of consistency, 1 year of focus, 1 year of doing the work, whether you felt like it or not. Your life would change. Your habits would shift. Your confidence would skyrocket. Because nothing builds self-belief like keeping your own word. And that's what discipline is. Keeping promises to yourself. It's choosing to show up for your future, even when your present is uncomfortable. You can either live a life of discipline or a life of regret. The choice is yours. Regret is what you feel when you realize you could have been more, done more, did more, but you let comfort win. Discipline is what you feel when you know you gave your best, when you know you pushed through, when you know you earned every step forward. One will leave you wondering what if. There's freedom in discipline. It may sound contradictory, but it's true. When you're disciplined, you take back control from your impulses, your distractions, and your excuses. You start living on your terms. You design your days. You choose your outcomes. That's real freedom. Not reacting to life, but creating it. And it all starts with a decision to live with purpose, with structure, with fire. A decision to say no more excuses, no more shortcuts. I'm going all in. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be consistent. You just have to keep showing up. When it's hard, when it's boring, when it's thankless. Keep showing up, because every time you choose discipline, you cast a vote for the person you want to become. And over time, those votes add up. They turn into habits. Those habits turn into results. And those results turn into a legacy. A legacy built not on chance, but on choice. Not on talent, but on tenacity. Not on dreams, but on discipline. Excuses are the silent killers of potential. They sound logical, they feel justified, and they give us temporary comfort. But in the long run, they rob us of growth. Every time you make an excuse, you're handing your power over to something else. You're saying this thing has more control over my life than I do. That mindset is toxic, because as long as you believe your limitations are stronger than your will, you'll never reach your full potential. Excuses might protect your ego in the moment, but they destroy your dreams in the process. We all have them. Reasons why we can't do something right now: too tired, too busy, not enough money, not enough time, not the right connections, not the right circumstances. The list goes on. But the truth is, as long as you're breathing, you have a shot. And if you're not willing to take it, then that's not about your limitation. That's about your commitment. You don't need more time. You need to stop wasting the time you have. You don't need more resources. You need to become more resourceful. You don't need perfect conditions. You need a relentless mindset. Excuses are seductive because they allow you to shift blame. They let you off the hook. If something's out of your control, then you're not responsible for the outcome. And that feels easier. But easier isn't better. Growth never happens in ease. It happens in responsibility, in ownership, in saying, no matter what's in my way, I will find a way through. That's the mindset of a champion. That's how people rise. Not by waiting for the world to be fair, but by refusing to be stopped by what's unfair. Let's be real. Life is hard. Circumstances won't always be ideal. People will doubt you. Things will go wrong. You'll fail. You'll stumble. And in those moments, you'll be tempted to make excuses. You'll want to protect yourself from disappointment. You'll want to say, it's not my fault. But every time you choose an excuse, you're reinforcing a belief that you're not in control. And that's a dangerous belief. Because the moment you give away your responsibility, you give away your power. What if instead of making excuses, you made decisions? What if instead of blaming your circumstances, you found a way to rise above them? That's the difference between average and extraordinary. Average people make excuses. Extraordinary people make moves. They find a way, they push through, they fall, and they get back up. They don't need the path to be easy. They just need the destination to be worth it. Excuses are comforting because they give us a reason not to try. If you don't try, you don't try. You can't fail, right? Wrong. You fail by default when you stop trying. You fail by default when you accept excuses as true. You fail when you let fear, doubt, and delay dictate your direction. And the worst part is most excuses aren't even true. They're stories you tell yourself to avoid discomfort. They're lies disguised as logic. But deep down, you know the truth. You know what you could be doing, what you should be doing, but aren't doing. And that's where the pain of excuses hits the hardest. Excuses are easy, but so is staying stuck, so is mediocrity, so is regret. What's not easy is discipline, effort, persistence, but those are the ingredients of success. You can't have a powerful life in a weak mindset. You can't chase big goals with small excuses. At some point, you have to decide, are you more committed to your growth or your comfort? Are you more interested in results or rationalizations? Because you can both. People who succeed in life are not excuse-free. They face challenges too. They go through pain too. But what sets them apart is what they do in the face of those obstacles. They don't retreat. They don't complain. They don't play the victim. They dig deeper. They take ownership. They keep moving forward, even when the odds are stacked against them. That's the mindset that wins. Not the one that waits for things to be perfect, but the one that said, I will work with what I've got. You don't need permission to change. You don't need approval to grow. You just need to stop feeding your excuses and start feeding your excuses and start feeding your actions. Start where you are. Use what you have. Do what you can. And if you fall short, good. That's feedback. That's data. That's an opportunity to learn. But never, ever let excuses be the reason you don't even start. Because you'll look back years from now not regretting the failures, but regretting the chances you didn't take. Excuses kill dreams slowly, one day at a time, one and not now at a time, one or maybe later at a time, and you don't even realize it until it's too late, until the opportunity is gone, until the momentum is lost, until the window has closed, and all you're left with is a story about what could have been. If only you had tried. Don't let that be your story. Don't let excuses write your legacy. Rewrite the narrative with action, with effort, with execution. You're going to feel resistance. That's normal. Your mind is wired to protect you from discomfort. But discomfort is where the magic happens. Every excuse you overcome makes you stronger. Every time you take action when you don't feel like it, you build power. Every time you shut down that voice telling you to quit, you become more of who you were meant to be. You grow through the grind. You rise through resistance. Make a decision today that excuses are no longer welcome in your life. Make a vow to yourself that you will stop giving yourself reasons not to succeed. Replace I can't with a how can I. Replace it's too hard with I'm getting stronger. Replace it's not the right time with a now is better than never. Your language shapes your life. And every time you eliminate an excuse, you open the door to possibility. This is your time, not tomorrow, not when it's convenient, not because time isn't waiting. The world isn't slowing down for you, and your future self is counting on you to rise up, not back down. Every action you take today shapes the life you'll live tomorrow. So don't trade that future for the comfort of an excuse. It's not worth it. Not even close. You are stronger than your excuses. You are capable of more than your circumstances suggest. But you have to choose to believe that. And belief is a choice. It's a decision to focus on what's possible, not what's in the way. You may have setbacks, sure. You may have limitations, but excuses are optional. You don't have to carry them. You don't have to own them. You can leave them behind, starting right now, so rise up. Take ownership. Step into your power. Let the world hear your action, not your excuses. Because at the end of the day, the only thing standing between where you are and where you want to be is the story you're telling yourself. Change the story and you change your life. No more excuses, just execution. Let that be the new standard. Let that be the legacy you leave behind.